So I guess the majority has to just be pretty old, relatively old, it just really depends on what you're kind of relating to. But to really get rich and somehow wealthy. Yeah. Hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And today we're actually going through another millionaire summary, or actually not a summary, but a millionaire interview. Why I actually go through them? Because I kind of feel like that actually having these stories, these real stories, is first of all very great to actually relate to somehow see, okay, how did this go? How did he do this? Or how did she do this? Because I do really not want to just always talk about men, totally not. But unfortunately enough, I just really only see quite men on here. So I don't know. I really don't know. Would be actually nice to have another woman because I've had a woman once, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know why there's so less or such a low amount of women here. But yeah. And it is also great to just have some kind of a filler because actually there is already an episode. Sorry. I'm very no. There is actually already an episode for so. So there is actually already to actually finish my fucking sentence. There is already an episode for today, so this practically will be an episode for tomorrow. So one of the two episodes for tomorrow, which is actually great for me because maybe then I have the time to actually cut the vlog that I wanted to cut for probably this week quite. And I didn't get to do it, and somehow I always had to do something else. But tomorrow should be enough time for actually doing this. So yeah, this is actually an episode for tomorrow, and I didn't want quite to actually start another summary. Maybe I'll just start one on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Maybe, I don't know. It always depends on how I feel like what's the best for the people that are viewing me, or just the people who are listening to me or listening to the stuff that I put out there. So therefore, I today just decided to go through a millionaire interview. And this is quite a great one to kind of introduce it a little bit. It is a pretty young one, which is totally something that you do not see that often, because it often is like, they are quite really, really old people. Like, they are not old, they're at half point quite, like 50 or 60 or whatsoever. It is not old, but it's definitely older than 42, as this person is right there. And his wife is actually 38. So she's in her 30s. And 40s are actually also pretty young. 50s is young as well, please don't get me wrong. Just being in your 50s, you're just at half time quite. I think, at least. So you do just have the same amount of time just left for actually doing whatever. And if you're by then just a millionaire, okay, it's great. It's really great. So the chances are pretty high that you're going to be just way richer when you die, or way more wealthier when you die, if you do not spend everything or donate everything for charity or something else, or for your children or whatsoever. But yeah, so he's actually pretty young. And actually get into this screen, I guess I'm actually too dark. I actually thought about that, and I'm very sorry to kinda interrupt this again. Just gonna get some cables. Gonna be the maybe because I'm not cutting the episodes at all the time. I'm always trying to do it during the episode quite with the software that I'm using. So therefore you might just have to get somehow 10 to 15 seconds further, so that you might, I don't know, just have to wait for such a long time, or like in relation to pretty much going to get there right now. Like, yeah. But this screen, it's doing something. Then when I just turn this on, it's also doing something, but but this here is probably doing way more than all the other things. So this one is totally bright. But I don't know, this is a fucked up light now. So it's not very, I just gonna have to hurry up way more. Just gonna use this one. Just gonna do it like this. And then, but maybe, yeah, like this. So it's definitely very, very bright for me. I hope it's okay for you to actually just view it as such. I hope that it is actually not too just flat somehow, or too just seems to be quite angry, to be honest. Quick solution for that. Is there a quick solution for that? Actually, no. No. Oh. Yeah, there is. There is a solution. The problem there is, if I fuck it, I'm completely fucked, because I'm now using just an open bottle with a lot of water inside as a stand for the light. I hope the light is good like this. So yeah, a quick overview. I'm gonna do this very, very quick so that we can actually start to get to the very interesting things. So I'm 42 and my wife is 38. We have been married for 10 years, which is incredible. We have 3 wonderful children, 6, 4, and 3. We live in a suburban northeastern town, and our estimated net worth is quite 6 million. I do not know if all these people just exactly know it, because I kind of feel like I wouldn't, but I don't know. I really don't know. I don't want to just assume something. Is assuming actually something negative? Because I don't know. I just think about assuming as something that's like just thinking, like another word for it. But it actually seems to be like something more negative than I thought it would be. Most of the net worth is, which is 4 million, is in taxable investment accounts. 1 million is in my tax deferred 401k and cash balance, and we have our main resistance that have been rapidly accelerating the mortgage payments and have approximately 350k equity and 100k left on mortgage, and this will be paid off in 2 years. I have an owner-financed mortgage on our cottage at an unbelievable 2.5%, of which I owe 220k and have approximately 100k of equity. So I'm not including assets as work or our work building, as I am unsure what they exactly are worth. I also am not including the 429 plan or cars, collector cars, and whatsoever. So they actually, what the fucking hell? There is going to be something that's incredible. Just incredible. And I do just want to say, because this was actually something that I've been talking to someone about, which is quite important for me. And money is definitely not money is definitely not the only thing that I'm worrying about. By the way, I also have this light. So maybe the screen not getting so incredible grainy and so on. So money is definitely not the only thing that's in my head, and money is definitely not the only thing that's just worth something for me. I really appreciate happiness, and I really want everybody to be happy. So maybe because there are people who might think like, I am always about money, because I'm talking quite often about money, to be honest. Quite often. So, and so, but it's not the only thing that I'm worrying about. It totally isn't. Money, I guess, is just something that can make you happy, but doesn't have to. And definitely often it isn't. And this is something actually a lot of rich people talk about. They really talk about actually just money not being something that makes them happy. It's rather the drive they have or their motivation, why they actually work on the certain thing they are working on, or like other things. And most often it's quite internal, or it's something like a bigger motive or just a higher motive, like I want to help everybody outside there to be happy. And this is then your quite goal or your desire or whatever it will be. And this then just, becomes your motivation, also your happiness, because there is something to go for, which is important, I think. So and it somehow is actually something quite similar to actually having something that you're looking forward to. And this is actually something that I've quite often, or once, was it often or once? I think it was only once, but as I recognized it and as I understood it, it was definitely like, okay, it makes sense. Which is that we all have something, or we all should have something that we're looking forward to. And which is quite all about having something to be happy about that's coming next. Like, okay, I'm looking forward to the meal that I'm getting. It could be totally something like this. But it seems to be very important that we actually have something like this. And as I recognized it, it really is true for me, because the best example for me is actually when I'm working out and I'm getting so hungry after working out, actually, that I'm so fucking happy to actually eat something. It is just incredible. And the feeling of actually knowing, okay, I'm going to eat something right now, is just incredible as well. And it really is, because then you eat something and it tastes so good. And it is just so great. You should totally have also something that you're looking forward to, whether it be work, whether it be your free time, whether it be something else. I don't fucking know. But so what is your job? I'm a physician in a heavily procedure-oriented specialty. It is a private group practice, and I have been partner for 8 years. So, and then what is your annual income? And this is something that's just fucked up. It varies, but around 900k per year, which is, because I'm always calculating it, 75k a month. 75k a month. How could you possibly just, use all the fucking money? I don't fucking know. I guess investment or investing is just the only way you can use it, besides actually buying dumb shit. But I guess people are actually making quite $1 million a year won't do this. Actually, it isn't. I'm just realizing. Actually making... No, it is $1 million. No, sorry. I didn't realize anything. I actually just thought like, okay, 100k per year, like just 100 more, which means that 900 plus 100 is actually 100, but it is actually $1 million. Yeah. I guess nobody understood what I actually just tried to communicate. But so I started 3 years of residency with an annual salary of 30k. This was followed by 3 years of fellowship where I made approximately 35k per year, which is already like something. I don't know if it's actually with tax or without tax, but I guess it's just what he gets or what he was getting. Or is it? I don't fucking know. We in Austria actually have a system which is definitely just extremely different than the system people have in America, and I guess in quite a lot of other countries, because we are actually paying 50%, quite not all the time. The highest class, which is actually the people that are making 1 million a year, so the part that is actually making 100 million a year, which means that it basically is like if you're earning, let's say, 1,100,000, then you actually have to just tax the 100K. And you have to tax the 100K by 50%, which means the state actually gets 50K from your 100K. So it's just mad. It's just really mad. So I joined my group as an associate with a base salary of 230K with productivity on top of that. As an associate, I seriously worked my tail off and grew a huge practice. Is it a practice? Practice, I guess. Instead of taking an afternoon off like all of my partners, I spent that afternoon as a contractor with the VA doing procedures which amounted to an extra 3K after tax each month. Once I became partner, my salary rapidly rose to where it is currently. Unfortunately, given cuts to reimbursements and never-ending overhead increases, my salary now continues to fall. Okay. So what tip do you have for others who want to grow their career-related income? There are no shortcuts. There are really no shortcuts. And I would really quite quote one of my favorite parts of any song that I've ever listened to, and which is definitely no lie, just really the truth, which is a song from E-Double. I don't know if everybody actually knows him. He is quite not unknown, definitely not. He is spelled E-double, like D-U-B-B-L-E, and in one of his songs, and unfortunately he already died because of some, I don't know, maybe you just read it on Wikipedia as well or just somewhere else, but he unfortunately died, which is something really sad, and I quite always wondered why there isn't much more music of him than just these few tracks that I was listening to quite all the time. And then I seen that he died actually, I think in 2018, which was something incredibly bad for me, because I really enjoyed his work, and I really enjoyed him actually being such a positive person. And in one of his songs, I do not remember, fortunately, what the name of the songs were, because I never know the names of songs, and also not of authors normally, but he said, shortcuts never work. And it's just the truth. And I don't know if you've just been thinking about shortcuts and whether they work or not, but they don't. They just really don't. So you need to invest the time in a great education and work your tail off. In fellowship, I was by far one of the hardest working fellows in the history of the program. I came out of fellowship with over 10x the number of procedures as the average fellow. I was there every morning by 6 a.m. rounding on patients and getting patients ready for the first case of the day, while my co-fellows didn't arrive until 7:30 a.m. And I guess so. I really guess, and I really think that if you're just really, really, really hardworking, no matter if you have the greatest education there or if you are the most talented one, you can outwork everyone. You really can. You can even just outwork the most talented, best person that the whole organization has, whether it is inside a company, whether it is actually in life as a general thing. You can always outwork the people. At my point of view, at least, I really think you can. Maybe this is just something that I think about, like just actually being like, yeah, maybe I'm not the most talented one, but I can still outwork everyone. Maybe I'm just, no, I really think so. Even 10 years later, new fellows tell me they are still told about the legend of Dr. X, who was here every morning at 6 a.m. and did X number of procedures. Interestingly, PCPs still tell me that the chief of the DEP tells them to send their patients to me because of the impression I made. I also made sure to introduce myself to all the local PCPs, when I started and would frequently call them after seeing an urgent or interesting patient. These relationships grew, and all of a sudden they were sending all of the patients to me and me only, as they knew I was a competent, caring doctor and would keep them updated on their patients. And the other lesson here is the benefit of staying and practicing in the same town that you train. Once I finished training and I started private practice, I became busy very, very quickly. I think so. I guess so. And I'm already seeing we're actually already 20 minutes in. But I guess I just have to do more than the 30 minutes because I wasted some time actually doing the setup. I, by the way, hope that it's just, looking fine, and that everything is just also just kind of, hearing fine, whatsoever. I just hope that I know that you, as a consumer, have a great experience actually just going through my content, whether it is actually the video or whether it is actually the podcast. But still, I do think the podcast as such is pretty great, and maybe I just have to spread it more. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's just more to do about it. But as I said, I don't know. I really don't. But yeah. So what is your work-life balance? So I was feeling burned out, so I now take a full day off per week. I try to be home for work by 5 p.m. every day by ending clinic at 4 p.m. I am on call 5 weekends per year. I'm continuing to slowly cut back even more. I guess so, I don't know, but I think if you're just making 900k a year, which is definitely, I guess, so for my lifestyle maybe, it would be even too much, I guess. I would still just save a lot and try to live the most modest life that I can do, so that maybe I can just give a lot to charity and or give a lot to my children and or my family. But I don't know what I would do with 75k a year, a month. You could totally buy a whole new car every single month. I don't know if this is just somehow, if this makes sense or if this is smart. I guess it's not. It's totally not. But you could basically. So I have no other source of income besides my investments and my job. And that's still too, it is still more than a lot of people have. Most of the people actually have their job and that's it. And they practically just give a fuck about diversification, which is something I do quite understand as a worker. And you're thinking like, why would I invest? This isn't working and whatsoever, which is totally, I think, one of the biggest reasons why people actually do not invest, because they actually think like, it's not working. It for sure is a long-term game. It is not something like a sprint. It's definitely a marathon. But it is working, I guess. I haven't tried it out, but I do have. I just actually wanted to actually make my investment account on the bank these holidays, because I had Easter holidays. I'm sorry. But I didn't do it, which is a little bit fucked up. Maybe I don't know if I should do it. I really don't know. I don't really like to just go through Tony Robbins' Unshakable before, maybe, because I guess, and I also hope that there's actually the information that I need for actually being able to properly invest, and to invest with knowledge rather than just, investing somehow. Even though the most easiest and quite the thing that a lot of people actually suggest you to do is actually investing into ETFs, which is basically index funds, which are funds that are not actively managed by anyone, so they're just there and you just invest in them. They actually have an index, which is basically, I do not know if I can actually somehow explain that, because I'm not really knowledgeable in this part. I actually am not. I'm really not. But it is basically somehow, I really don't know, actually. I really don't know. I think you just have to look it up, which would be actually the best thing to do. Just Google it. Google is amazing. But yeah, so what is your annual spending? I'm paying double my mortgage currently, so it is high, probably about 170k per year, which is a lot. But we still had some people who were spending, I really guess 200 fucking k a year and didn't make 900. I think actually the last one before was actually making 500k. No, it wasn't. I think it just, maybe he was. I don't know. I don't remember. So once the mortgage is paid off, we will be well under 100k per year. I will likely have our 30-year mortgage paid off in a total of 11 years. So what are the main categories expenses that this spending breaks into? So most of it, which is 6.5k per month, is accelerated to mortgage payment. The remainder is food, child activities, etc. at 4k per month, cottage mortgage payment $900 per month, and other bills like $2,000 a month. So do you have a budget? If so, how do you implement it? I do not have a budget as our spending is pretty consistent every month. So what percentage of your gross income do you save, and how does that change over time? We live in a high tax state, and thus basically 50% of gross is gone to taxes, which is totally a lot. So before children, I was saving 75% of net take home. Now with children and higher expenses, I save on average 50 to 60% of take home. And this does not include my 401k or cash balance plans, which amounts to approximately 130k of pre-tax investment each year. Splurges, muscle cars of the 60s, outdoor gear, biking, gardening. Investment, I minimize expenses and time is your friend. Invest as such as you can, as early as you can, in very low cost index funds. Very interesting. Very fucking interesting. Because it's basically all that Warren Buffett is saying, all that Tony Robbins is saying, and him himself, because I believe in him actually being a millionaire, he says it as well. So there just has to be something about. So you should invest as early as you can. There's just a really, I think, famous example of Tony Robbins, where he actually says, okay, you should invest in index funds, and the example is that one starts with 19 actually, and starts with actually just doing investing $300 per month to his 27th birthday, and then he doesn't do anything. And when he is, I think, 60 or 70 or something, so when he's retiring, basically, he will then have so approximately, it's just nothing to really be sure about, but he will basically then have just a wealth of, is it a wealth? Or just he will just have $1.7 million then. The other person that is just starting with, I think, 25 or something, or 28. So it's taking a little bit longer for him to actually realizing, okay, investment should maybe be something that I should be doing. And then he's doing it, and then he actually pays up to his retirement, and he will then have, I think, or does he? I'm not quite sure. I do not know if he's actually just paying until he's actually retiring, or just the same amount of time as the other person. But still, he does just make 1.5 million, which is definitely 200k less than the other person because of some years. And you can totally see, okay, through those 10 years or 8 years or 5 years, whatever it may be, he has lost a lot of money. Besides that, so what has been your best investment? Without a doubt, my education. Besides that, my investments are quite boring. I'm investing 80% in stocks index, and 20% bond index, and simply invest my pay every month into this. My partnership also has a 401k plan and a cash balance plan that is basically maxed out each year to help lower my taxable income. My investments are boring but have proven to be extremely effective over the years. Thankfully, I have managed to avoid all the fancy doctor investments that rarely produce. The worst investment, we each invest $5,000 into a startup which rapidly failed and we lost all of our money. This was an early indication for me, and this loss taught me to avoid all the typical nonsense I see my colleagues invest in. Unfortunately, several of my friends have continued such investments and have lost over 6 figures and are still waiting for the lucky investment. What's been your overall return? I've been averaging about 9% per year. So how often do you monitor or review your portfolio? Every week or so definitely not something that he's quite into. Net worth. How did you accumulate your net worth? I inherited nothing and started with nothing. I came out of a fellowship with a net worth of 120k and was very good about saving most of my income. Investing it in low-cost index funds and living frugally, I avoided buying the doctor house and instead bought a very nice house that was less than a half of my yearly income. Gradually, the magic of compound interest started to occur and my wealth began to skyrocket. In 10 years, I have gone from a negative 6-figure net worth to 6 million. Why is it then just now only worth, I'm sorry for actually saying that, 4 million? I don't know. So what round bumps did you face along the way to becoming a millionaire, and how did you handle them? I have been fortunate in that there have been no major roadblocks. My family is healthy and my wife stays at home to take care of the children, allowing me to spend as much time at work as needed. I would say the biggest challenge is avoiding lifestyle creep. It amazes me how much money people spend who make only 10% of our income. They then have an unexpected major car repair and etc. and have to tap into home equity as they have no emergency fund. Totally right. So much people and such a lot of people actually just, use their money for dumb shit. Whether it be cars, whether it be clothing, whether it be watches. So many fucking dumb shit. But yeah, and I guess I really just have to invest in index funds. I just really have to educate myself and invest in them. Even if it's just 10 euros every fucking single month. I don't fucking care by now. I really don't. I don't use my money for anything. Anything for then just, the things that are putting in my fucking mouth or actually my smartphone. I'm just buying no clothes. I'm cutting my hair very, very just, late, as I would say, when I just really look shit. No negative self-talk, by the way. Really don't. With the hair, not good. If I cut them, very good. Yeah. But if I'm just wearing a cap, also very good. So yeah, no fucking negative self-talk. Also something I have to myself remind on. So how do you have a target net worth you're trying to attain? Honestly, this seems to be a moving target. I set a goal and then reach that goal and then feel it's not enough. I'm starting to realize I have enough. The hard part is taking the step and going half-time after working so hard to build my practice to where it is at. So how old were you when your first million was there? 35. Approximately 3 years into practice. I have not had any major behavioral changes since then. I have managed to control lifestyle creep to best of my ability. So what money mistakes have you made along the way that others can learn from? I am a staunch believer in living below your means, investing regularly in low-cost index funds and staying the course. After several years, the compounding becomes amazing. You must avoid lifestyle creep at all costs. I see it all the time in my partners. many of whom are still needing to work into their late 60s with major health problems. Some do not even max out their 401k, but instead ensure that they have the newest, nicest fancy import in the parking lot. Very, 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 very just classic, I'd say. So others do not even know how to check their 401k balances or what they are invested in. Actually, there is not something like a 401k plan in Austria. There is just, I think it's only in America like this. I have seen in the forum, because I was just interested in this, if there's something quite similar to that in France, seems to be, but because in every European country all the laws are quite different, not like in the States, but really in the States, they all have different laws as well sometimes. It is very complicated, and I guess I, for myself, should just first of all check what the 401k plan actually is, because I don't know, just really know. So I just have to see and have to be clear what it is and whatsoever. They need to constantly worry about cuts to reimbursement etc. It is much nicer to be in my position, where at the age of 42 I have enough to simply walk away if we get bought out and don't like the terms, or irate cuts continue. I no longer need to be a slave to the man. What are your plans for the future? So how did you learn about finances, and at what age did it click? Actually, also very important, because I guess some will benefit from them definitely. So I've always loved earning money and being able to spend on my hobbies. I started landscaping for neighbors and having a paper route when I was 10 years old. I worked for a family constructed company starting at 15 years old. I credited my wife with getting me started in investing prior to meeting her. I just saved everything in a bank saving account. I have since read in numerous investing books, like less than 30, recommended by Boogleheads, and regularly read the Boogleheads forum, like WCI, ESI, and PUF. So his parents and grandparents seem to be his heroes, because they are very loving and very, very just caring. Do you give to charity? I contribute regularly to Children's Hospital. Now that my net worth is so high, I plan on giving more. Prior to a few years ago, I didn't contribute as much, given my extremely high tax rate, which I considered as charity also. Well. Somehow true maybe. I don't know. It even is somehow, even though charity to the government or whatsoever may not be the best charity. Maybe I skipped something. So what advice do we have for the ISE money readers on how to become wealthy? Which is basically the website I'm on right now, because I haven't mentioned. I'm on the isemoney.com website, which is basically just packed with millionaire interviews. It's very, very interesting. So live below your means and become the millionaire next door. If you ever saw me outside of work, you would never guess I was a doctor or a millionaire. I typically wear jeans and a t-shirt, and I'm frequently muddy or greasy from working on my cars or gardening, and would have it no other way. I do all of our car repairs as well as house and lawn maintenance because I can and I want to. I drive a 10-year-old Toyota and never flash my wealth. Our neighbors, all of whom drive fancy 4i imports, probably think we are barely making our mortgage payments and living paycheck to paycheck, while the opposite is the truth. I know for a fact most of them are taped into their home equity, carry heavy credit card debt, and lease their fancy cars and only have the appearance of wealth. While we live frugally, we certainly are still living a great life, averaging 3 to 4 vacations per year and spending lots of time at our cottage. Do they actually have cottage? I actually didn't. I just thought if I'm actually understanding it this correctly, I quite thought why just cottage tax, I didn't quite understand, but I think they actually have cottage. They actually have. Nothing to just judge about, totally not. As a famous blogger, he said, we can have anything we want, but not everything we want. Once you obtain sufficient wealth, it is also essential to protect your wealth. Be sure to have adequate disability insurance from the start, as well as a large umbrella policy to cover any possible issues that may arise. And with that being said, this is the end of the episode. 40 minutes in, one of the longest episodes I've done, I think in a pretty long time, I guess, because I'm always quite averaging at 30 minutes, because it seems to be for me quite a great time to actually have much time, but not too much time for actually just boring people or the viewers. But yeah, with this being said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I wish you the best wealth, health, happiness, and success. But I still would like you to just remember how you're going to be remembered, so basically your legacy, and giving back to the people, even if they didn't give you something. Just give back. Just give back, because people are amazing, and some people have nothing, and you maybe have something. But yeah, maybe you'll watch also the other episode of today, because today is hopefully Friday, and I'll see you. Bye.